Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today is our final day in Windsor. We wanted to make the most of it before heading back. After breakfast, we decided to take one last quick morning stroll along the beautiful Windsor waterfront. Honestly, we just couldn't get enough of these views on day 1 and day 2, so it felt right to squeeze in one more peaceful walk before checking out. After that refreshing stroll, we checked out from our hotel and headed to Jackson Park. But instead, we ended up at the Queen Elizabeth II Gardens. And what a beautiful surprise that was! The gardens were absolutely stunning, so neat, well kept, and bursting with color. We enjoyed a nice, relaxing walk here, clicked some lovely pictures, and just soaked in the calm atmosphere. From there, we set off for Amherstburg. The drive from Windsor to Amherstburg was such a treat. Peaceful, scenic, and filled with beautiful views of the countryside and the river along the way. Our first stop in Amherstburg was Fort Malden, National Historic Site. When we entered the reception area at Fort Malden, they gave my son an activity booklet. It had fun challenges and a little scavenger hunt which kept him happily engaged while we explored. Such a thoughtful touch, it really makes the visit enjoyable for kids as well as adults. We started by visiting the pensioners' cottage and the museum. Just as we were stepping out of the cottage, we spotted this massive vessel sailing along the river. And wow, what a sight that was! It really gave us a sense of the strategic importance of this location in history. When we reached Fort Malden National Historic Site, I couldn't help but think about its history. This fort was originally built by the British back in 1795, right after they withdrew from Detroit to secure the Canadian side of the Detroit River. During the War of 1812, Fort Malden played a key role as a base for British troops, indigenous allies, and loyalists against the Americans. Later on, in the 1830s, it was also used as a garrison during the rebellions of 1837-38, when tensions in Upper Canada were running high. Over the years, the site transformed, even serving as a home for pensioned soldiers and later a psychiatric institution. But today, it's preserved so visitors like us can walk through history and see the barracks, cottages, and demonstrations and get a feel for what life was like here on the river's edge. Inside Fort Malden, we also explored the museum, which really brings the fort's history to life. It's filled with fascinating artifacts from military uniforms and weapons to everyday items that soldiers and families would have used. What stood out to me was how well the exhibits tell the story of the War of 1812 and the rebellions of 1837, giving us a real sense of what life was like during those times. It's a small museum but packed with details that make the whole visit even more insightful. Next, we walked over to the soldiers' barracks and joined the musket demonstration. Fort Malden has daily programs that make the experience so much interactive. Things like heritage cooking, blacksmithing, military drills, gardening demonstrations, and guided tours of the original historic buildings. One of the absolute highlights was watching the cannon firing, the sound, the atmosphere. It felt like stepping right back in time.
Lot more Royal Artillery crew right there than the border. It's a lot bigger.
After Fort Malden, we headed into Amherstburg's charming downtown. We treated ourselves to some delicious ice cream at the Waterfront Ice Cream Parlor, which I highly recommend if you're visiting. To really enjoy it, we walked over to the King's Navy Yard Park. This park is so picturesque with beautifully maintained gardens and stunning views right along the waterfront. It was the perfect spot to relax, enjoy our ice cream, and wrap up our trip. As we wrap our Windsor and Amherstburg adventure, I have to say this trip has been such a mix of history, beauty, and family fun. From strolling along the peaceful waterfront to experiencing the cannon blast at Fort Malden, every stop had its own charm. If I had to pick a favorite moment, it would definitely be the Fort Malden experience. This little getaway showed us that you don't always have to go too far to find amazing experiences. I hope you all enjoyed this experience along with us, and I'm going to see you very soon in my next video. Until then, keep exploring.